Welcome to That's Racing. The Gelding and I are going to look at Flemington race card tomorrow and try and provide you with 4 winners plus the Professor's Parlay. It's a good afternoon to the Gelding.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, listeners.
Yeah, 9 race card at Flemington tomorrow. Gelding, nice to be back at headquarters.
As we keep saying, Professor, the best race course in the Southern Hemisphere, in our opinion. Looking forward to it. I'll let you talk about the rail movement and the condition of the track.
All right,
what do
Gelding,
you think?
The first at 11:55, the last at 4:35, so plenty of time to get home after the last race and watch the 6 o'clock news. No particular feature race, Gelding, and we might talk about that at the end of the program. The track's a good 4. The weather's supposed to be fine. The rail out 11 metres, Gelding. 11 metres?
Wow.
It's a long way.
First race, 11:55, Professor. And my turn for the bets. Should I be worried?
Yes, you should tomorrow, Gelding.
Okay.
All right. Without further ado, what are your 2 best bets for tomorrow's racing at Flemington?
Well, Professor, I'm going a bit early in race 3 and race 4. One I particularly like in race 3 is horse number 5, Cleo Cat, trained by Tom Dabinick and ridden by Craig Williams. I think Craig Williams will have a bit of a day tomorrow, Professor, and could ride 3 of the first 4 winners. So good to see the better jockeys coming back. And with so many of them overseas, Professor, on holidays at the moment, I think Craig would be regarded as the best jockey at the meeting. And I think he's in for a good day. But Cleo Cat, race 3, number 5, trained by Tom Dabinick, now in his Warrnambool base. This 4-year-old mare, Professor, has had 9 starts for 7 wins.
It's very impressive, Gelding.
Oh, very impressive. Sorry, Professor, I'll just take a quick sip of drink. 7 out of 9, and then a second, Professor. Last starter was second to a horse that we think will be a group horse in Neops. Start before that, Professor, won a Group 3 over in Adelaide. Drops back to a quality handicap tomorrow, over 1100. I think this Cleo Cat could be a good thing. Then we go to race 1, horse number 4, Taken, trained by Mick Price and again to be ridden by Craig Williams. This horse has won its last 3, Professor. And I think despite jumping up to 60 kilos tomorrow from its last start win in a similar class race where it carried 55.5, I think it'll be too strong again tomorrow, Professor. And I think Craig Williams will be off to a good start early. So my 2 are race 3, number 5, Cleo Cat, into race 4, number 1, Taken. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going to go very early, and that should get your ears up. I'm going for, in race 1, the tab we're on, betting odds race over 1,420 metres. Now, Gelding, why did they add the extra 20 metres? Can you explain that to me at all?
Would that be because the rail's out 11 metres? I wonder whether it'd be 1,400 in a true position.
Well, yes, all those things come to mind, don't they, Gelding?
They do, Professor. But, look, I'd imagine it's because of probably just the track movement with the rail out.
All right. Well, so I'm going for horse number 2, Observer, coming out of barrier 9. It's only had the 2 starts, so very lightly raced, Gelding. 1 win and a placing. It's in a weaker class. It debuted at Pakenham and ran second of 9. That was back in May. And it won by 5 lengths at Sandown Lakeside very nicely indeed, over 1,400 metres. Didn't need the extra 20 metres to win that one, Gelding, and 5 lengths is a pretty good margin. The bookies like it too, $1.55 and $1.06. Craig Williams is in the saddle, and Craig's in very good form at the moment. 13% win rate for his career, which is very good for a jockey. The Blue Army, trained by James Cummings, 16% for a career win rating there. So you were talking about Craig Williams before. He needs this or these races to try and catch Blake Shinn in the Jockeys Championship. Of course, Blake's injured, so Craig's got every chance, but he's got to make every post a winner with this one, Gelding.
No, he does, Professor. Look, I'm hoping he can ride a treble tomorrow. He's ridden a treble today down at Geelong, so he's come back in good form. So he'll be going in tomorrow's meeting full of confidence. And, yeah, I think he'll be... This horse was very impressive at Sandown, and I think the 5 lengths may have been closer to 6 or 7 lengths, Professor, in its last week.
Well, providing it's that far in front tomorrow, Gelding, I'll have no objection at all.
It's a good race, but this could be a very good horse.
And Gelding, in race 2, the Ken Cook Handicap, it's a 3-year-old quality race over 2,000 metres. I like in this one horse number 3, Chocolates. Gelding, coming out of barrier 6. It's had 6 starts for 3 wins and a placing, so a 50% win rate, 67% place rate. It's up in class, Gelding, but it's a last start winner at this track over the exact same distance. Gelding, this one is 2,000 metres. Why isn't this one 2,030 or 40 metres?
That's a very good question, Professor.
Question without notice, Gelding, that we don't really need to know the answer to.
I'll just get the VRC committee on the line.
Thank you, Gelding. While I'm doing this, I'll be appreciative to know what they say about this. It's the horse's 4th start for this campaign, Gelding, for 2 wins and a 4th, so it's in good form. It's won on good and soft tracks, so tomorrow will be no problem. Harry Coffey's in the saddle with an 11% career riding rate. Kieran Maher's in career form at the moment, 16% for his career, 18% over his last 50. And Kieran Maher's a former trainer of ours, Gelding. So, yes. It's always nice to be on a horse that has been trained by one of our former trainers.
Definitely. And horses by Shocking, a Melbourne Cup winner, and is owned in the same interest. Races in the same colours as Shocking, its sire. So, and again, another horse that won. Well, I thought it won was a small margin, but seemed to always have the other horse covered. So hoping it can repeat tomorrow, Professor, and you get us away to a flying start.
Well, we can certainly hope for that, Gelding. And I like how they named the horse, the sire Shocking, so they took the shock, and then the dam is Zelt, so they played around with that and got Letts, so Chocolates, as opposed to Chocolates.
Yes, and not much thought really going into that, is there, really?
Well, we know what we say about horses, with dud names.
Yes.
But Chocolates doesn't sound like a dud name, does it?
No. I think the horse is showing that it's a good middle distance horse. So, looking forward to it tomorrow.
And a special for the viewers, Gelding, race 3, your selection of Cleo's Cat. I'd recommend to the viewers that they take a Quinella also in that race. Number one recommendation. So 1 and 5 in that race. Why I say that? It's back in class after running in a listed race. It actually ran 6th to Neonce in the same race that Cleo's Cat was in. The horse pulled up lame at the end of the race, Gelding, and that might have been a little bit of an explanation about why it wasn't up there at the finishing pace with the first 3. But just throw that one in. I do think Cleo's Cat is probably the bet of the day, but recommendation might not be too far behind it. And Gelding, that's my recommendation.
And we've been on recommendation before, Professor, so excuse me, not without a chance.
Exactly. So my 2 for tomorrow, race 2, horse 3, Chocolates, and race 1, horse 2, Observer.
So we'll be over nice and early, Professor.
Well, we'll be over by 1:40 at the latest, Gelding.
Yes, hopefully.
Hopefully. All right, Gelding, let's turn to the vexed question of the Professor's Parlay. Last week, it's come to the end of its preparation, Gelding. Little did we know.
Well, a very disappointing run last week. We came back to the field a bit after 3 or 4 weeks of a very good run, Professor. Well, I did hear the trainer's assistant trainer, his daughter, Clint McDonald's daughter, say that they were putting the horse out for a spell. It come to the end of its preparation, but you've got some interesting comments from the stewards.
Well, yes. Just let me leaf through my my diary here, Gelding. I've got to find where. Here we are. Slow to begin. Failed to run on.
Definitely, that's what happened.
Yes. Come to the end. The jockey said that it'd come to the end of its preparation. The trainer's assistant agreed, and will be spelled. So, also began awkwardly. Yeah, and I'd agree with that. But 3.5 lengths, Gelding, to 7th wasn't a good result for the parlay. That's for sure.
Certainly not, and was certainly not the form the horse had been showing beforehand, Professor. So, what I was surprised that the stewards didn't say perform well below market expectations.
Well, that's the first thing I was expecting to read, Gelding, in the stewards report, but it amazingly wasn't there. So
okay. Well, it did perform well below our expectations.
It did. And I'll tell you who else performed well below our expectations. Brisbane Lions are playing at home, Gelding.
Oh.
Listen, if Greater Western Sydney, they need to be swabbed.
Oh.
When we look at their efforts against Port Adelaide and Richmond when they were actually playing at home, and then to take form that they don't display at home away, it's amazing. At least Geelong beat Essendon, Gelding, so at least we got one leg up.
Yeah. So all the better for this week, Professor.
It is. So the parlay's now 10 from 26. So we've ducked under the 40%, 38.5% at the moment, Gelding. So
right, let's get back tomorrow.
Let's get back tomorrow. So this week, race 3, horse 5, Cleo's Cat, for all the reasons that you mentioned, Gelding, and definitely between you and I, that's the agreed bet of the day. Probably Observer is unlucky not to be the bet of the day, I would have thought, but you can't have 2 bets of the day, can you?
Oh, look, they're both there, Professor. The only reason probably I went Cleo Cat over Observer as bet of the day is that one's had 9 starts and won 7 of them. Observer's coming up, for its 3rd start as a 2-year-old, and you just never know with 2-year-olds.
No, and I totally agree with you there, Gelding. And let's parlay that into the Western Bulldogs to beat Richmond. Western Bulldogs are 9th. They've won 7 from 13, so they really need this one to get back into the 8, Gelding. They're 2nd in offence in the whole of the AFL, right? 2nd out of 18 teams. They average 103 points per game. That's going to get it done most times, Gelding. They only allow 80 points per game. Richmond, very disappointing. They've won 3 from 13. That's probably 3 more games than some pundits believe that they'd win. They're having 94.5 points per game kicked against them, Gelding. So combine that with a team that's a very free-flowing, easily scoring team. The Western Bulldogs could kick a very good score tomorrow, or tomorrow, I would have thought.
Oh, I think my Tigers might have a bit of trouble with their big forward line there. They're big forwards, Professor. So, I'm a bit worried about tomorrow. A very ordinary effort by the Tigers last week.
Yeah, and their offence isn't getting it done, Gelding. They only average 66 points a game, which is the worst in the AFL.
Yeah, not good.
And the bookies have got 48.5, so they're giving 8 goals in.
Yeah, I would have thought that could be even a bit light.
Yeah. And let's parlay that into the New Zealand Warriors to beat the Penrith Panthers. Going back to the NRL, Gelding, because the Penrith Panthers are 9th, but they've got 5 Origin players that played on Wednesday night are not making the trip to Auckland to play, simply because they've been in Perth. State of Origin, over to Perth, then back to Penrith, then to Auckland was believed too big a hurdle for them to jump over, and I agree. But those 5 players, Brian To'o, Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary and Liam Martin, that's a lot of quality out of a side like the Penrith Panthers, who aren't playing all that well anyway. But
a lot of their scoring power. And
New Zealand, 3rd on the ladder, they've won 10 from 13, Gelding, and they've only got Kurt Capewell out. So I think I prefer the New Zealand Warriors have been very difficult to beat at home this year. So the New Zealand Warriors to beat the Penrith Panthers.
Looking forward to it, Professor.
So tomorrow's Professor's Parlay, race 3, horse 5 at Flemington, Cleo's Cat into the Western Bulldogs to beat Richmond, into New Zealand Warriors to beat Penrith Panthers. Now, Gelding, I've said we'd talk about a couple of things. First of all, the Metropolitan Premiership, Blake Shinn on 67 wins. He's injured. Craig Williams on 57 wins. Can he make up the difference given it's the 20th of June?
Well, a lot depends, I suppose, when Blake Shinn's coming back. 10 seems to be a very, large number. But look, there's a lot of jockeys away at the moment. Mark Zara was riding at Royal Ascot during the week and is on holidays. The Mellams, Ben and Jamie, are maybe holidaying with them and seem to be having a good break. Third, you've got Daniel Zackhouse, who's on 43. So you say that's no chance of catching him. Williams, if he gets a treble this week, all of a sudden may put him up there.
Yes,
and I think he can ride 3 of the first 4 winners tomorrow, Professor. So he's on Observer, he's on Cleo Cat, and he's on Taken. So he's on 3 of our 4 selections. So
we're definitely hoping that he rides a treble.
Well, we hope we aren't Willow, Professor.
Oh, that couldn't happen, could it, Gelding?
Oh, well, okay. I'll save my 5 for next week.
Well, save your 5 to see how these things turn out. I think that's probably a good bet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So look, he's in final. If all of a sudden he's 60 winners, 7 to go, and you got 5 or 6 meetings to go, and Blake Shinn's not riding, it's not without the realms of possibility.
All right, Gelding. Well, that's it for today's episode of That's Racing. We'd ask the viewers hit the like button. People have been doing that, which was terrific, and also hit the subscribe button, Gelding, because they will no doubt want to be notified when That's Racing goes to air, and also when Paul Daligan and his NRL show goes to air. We've had a lot of fun doing that one as well.
I'm sure you and Paul are having a lot of fun, Professor.
Yeah, we are. It's a bit hard to get jokes in with Paul. He's quick fire. There's no doubt about that.
Well, a half an hour show, Professor. Do you actually get 5 minutes of talking?
I'll have to put a stopwatch on that, Gelding, because I'd have to put a stopwatch to see if I get 5 minutes. He's always good with the chat. There's no doubt about that.
Yes. He's not shy of a word.
All right, Gelding. Until That's Racing next week, it's good luck.
And good punting.